However, you know, as there was this conversation around, and there was a conversation probably the last couple months around, will Trump pardon Derek Chauvin, you know, George Floyd's killer?
Jesus Christ.
And, you know, Trump, who is, I mean, again, Trump is, he doesn't give a fuck about how shit looks.
No.
You give me $1 million,
I mean,
I'll pardon your family.
Look at his appearance. Look at the way he looks. Would you really expect him to care how the rest of the country looks?
I need more orange makeup. I need more. I need more orange.
His whole appearance just breaks the color wheel. It's just so much color theory that he's disobeying by just simply appearing on television every day.
But again, the public grift of give me $1 million, I'll pardon your family. Again, on full display with no critique.
Yeah.
However, Trump also pardoned Larry Hoover and NBA YoungBoy, and you know, people thinking that this was some type of reach out to the black community.
Listen.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that this?
Here we go.
That was a song for those that don't know. I think Big Meech, Larry Hoover. Big Meech and Larry Hoover now out of prison.
Well,
right?
Larry Hoover's not out of prison yet.
Oh yeah, right.
Because he still has 200 years state time. Yeah.
Yes. His federal, he got a federal pardon. He still has state pardon.
Yeah.
And NBA YoungBoy got a federal pardon too. Miracle. Is this smart politics? A lot of people think not. Larry Hoover, for those that don't know, Larry Hoover started a gang in Chicago called the Gangster Disciples. He's been in prison since 1973.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. And but people feel like he could come out and maybe help to
free the guys, free the team,
stop some of the violence in Chicago. But also Trump saw the governor of Illinois, Pritzker, I believe is his name, who's also a billionaire, has been somebody that looked like he might be interested in running for president. So now it puts the emphasis on Pritzker now. Is he going to commute Larry Hoover's sentence on a state level?
Yeah.
Is this Trump being intelligent in terms of how he's moving and seeing potential Democrats coming up and hoping to thwart their connection? Or is this Trump like giving something to the black MAGA folks to say, see, even though I only brought white South Africans in, I'm not racist. I pardon Larry Hoover and I pardon NBA YoungBoy.
You know, Plies had a really good take on the situation and was talking about how he pardoned NBA at the end of his sentence, and Larry as he it still has a state sentence, right?
Right.
I want to say, first of all, Larry Hoover's son has, since the first Trump administration, been in those Oval Offices talking about pardon my father.
Yes.
So I'm going to give him big props.
Famously with Kanye West, when Kanye rode up there and just hopped directly on Trump's genitals, like just hopped directly on him and was running around. It was like he was on ketamine. It's like, yo,
maybe they're all, the whole team.
Yeah, maybe they all are.
Whole team of fiend. I don't know. But so I'm gonna give him props for that, because he has been advocating and lifting up his father's story for a minute now.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't think this is going to get the black people, you know, vote in. I think it just shows that, you know, he brought the Chrisleys home. He did a bunch of pardons,
Yes.
a bunch of
a lot of celebrities, a lot of names that will be in the paper. And so another theory was he was doing this because of the pushback against the bill. Like, people realizing this bill cuts Medicaid, this bill is going to impact Social Security, and so this was a way of like distracting people about what is to come, which is people being put in a much worse situation, like financially and health wise.
But at least Todd Chrisley's home, and he stole money from poor people. So, like,
yeah,
that's who was convicted of doing.
Brett Favre's gonna get pardoned too?
You know, so like, he hasn't been convicted. I do think he'll get some type of pardon, or like, you know, just be like, look. But I do not think that the federal prosecutors are going to go after Brett Favre.
Like, oh, absolutely not.
especially now.
Yeah.
You know, Brett's probably over there being like, listen, pardon me or whatever, get them to drop the cases. Because a lot of people have either been getting pardoned or cases dropped with this new Trump administration. So I think that it's going to be a good summer. I think NBA YoungBoy, I mean, we know his struggles. We've seen it.
Yeah.
I think him having a pardon is very beneficial.
Absolutely.
So now that like his record's clear, he can't get like, you know, additional charges, worried about being violated. I need to go back and make sure that he got a full pardon and not just for
like a conditional one.
But yeah, you know, I'm happy. I think Larry, especially we'll talk about at the top of the hour, if you're going to do drugs, and all the drug dealers should be let out. That's my
100%.
I'm gonna stand on that every single day, and I'm gonna people get mad at me when I say that. But I
should go to jail because I gave Elon the ketamine. Like like I mean,
no, I don't think drug dealers deserve to go to prison. I feel like we are now creating these economies where you can sell ketamine. I was reading like psychedelics are going to be like the next big wave of like drug legalization. Let people out, put people in the industry, let them get jobs, let them take care of their families, rebuild society, free the guys. That's like my thought process on it. I know,
but you don't think like, and you know, again, when in the black community talk, there's a conversation, particularly like black men in podcasts and kind of the Hotep culture. These are folks that openly supported Donald Trump. And again, we talked last.
You got to get, but people see that as you get something for your vote, right? I think that's what.
But if we're losing like jobs and Medicare and Social Security, but we get NBA YoungBoy and Larry Hoover, is that
that Larry Hoover Jr. got that for his vote? NBA people got that for his vote, right? That's not us as a collective. I think what we're starting to see is that basically it's a trade-off for your vote. And I think that now is the time to teach people, like, there is always a trade-off for your vote. Do you have, you know, your schools being funded? Do you have your sidewalks being paved? Do you have, you know, tickets when you make a mistake? Are you going to jail? Do you have legalization in your jurisdiction? There's always a trade-off for your vote. And I think when we're looking at what's happening right now, it is the clearest indicator of that. And more people should understand, like, oh, when I vote, I get something back. I as an individual get something back, but we as a collective also get something back. I personally love driving on roads that don't have potholes. You know, I personally like having stoplights and you know, things that work for the government. I like public schools. I like libraries. You know, I like public art projects. You know, and I think we have to start getting back to like civics and understanding.
I understand that. Okay, but Trump's not doing any of that. In fact, we just talked about with Elon Musk, Trump came in and is looking like he's attempting to dismantle any federal support that individuals might get. However, he is considering
pardoning Diddy.
Did you want to play that clip, sir?
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it.
Diddy start writing letters immediately.
I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely.
No, that's behind it.
Certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't. It's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me. Mr.
President. Again, so Miracle, if it seems like his reach out to the black community is, and remember, you know, Trump's the same person that basically said, you know, and then I got indicted. This was Trump in 2024. And then I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And a lot of people said, that's why black people like me. Because they've been hurt so badly and discriminated against, they actually view me as being discriminated against. So here's Trump remember, Trump was saying black people loved his mugshot. Right? So in Trump's mind, it's like his reach out to the black community is, who's a black celebrity that needs my help? I'll help him. I'll send him back to the black community and have him, cape for me or go on the campaign trail for me as he thinks about 2028. Is this do you think this is a strategy that will work?
No. Also, the Diddy trial, I don't know. I have thoughts, but
thoughts in that you think Diddy is going to come home, or thoughts that
I don't think Diddy's getting convicted.
And
the reason,
you don't think he's going to get convicted of anything?
I don't think he's going to get convicted of anything that's going to keep him sitting down, because the prosecutors did not create a case and explain what their charges were and account for the sensationalism of everything that's going on. Do I think Diddy was out here blowing up people's cars, shaking them down, being abusive? Yes.
Going to somebody's house and unwrapping all of their gifts is crazy.
Hilarious.
He is a menace,
is diabolical.
Right?
Yes.
But I do not think that the prosecutors were able to tailor the questioning, especially, and I thought it was Cassie, you're arguing that he was abusive, that he did these things. You don't need to talk about the relationship. You don't need to talk about all the love. People do not understand domestic violence as a whole, right?
Yes.
People do not understand intimate partner violence as a whole. You have to be very pointed on this date.
So happened. You think Diddy's not going to need a federal pardon?
No.
But if he does, Trump pardoning him would be part of what Trump does, right?
I think if Trump pardoned him, it would be like next year, right?
It would be like when Trump would need to tell black people, see, look what I did for you.
Yeah. I'm going to say something. I think if he's going to want to pardon somebody, it's not gonna be Diddy.
Who's it gonna be, Miracle?
The Pied Piper.
Oh shit.
Yo.
He's gonna pardon R. Kelly?
That's first of all, to this day, people play R. Kelly.
From a guy who can't pee because of ketamine to a guy who pees too much.
Stop. But that's my point. If he wants to win with quote unquote the Christian black part of the Republican Party, the black man part of the Republican Party, it's going to be R. Kelly. Or
would it be? Well, no. Tory Lanez has state charges, so that's not federal charges.
And people are trying, but I feel like because R. Kelly represents his situation of someone who did some bad stuff but got caught 20 years later, this type of thing. And I think that R. Kelly would be at the inauguration or at whatever rallies he had doing those songs.
Step in the name of Trump is great.
Step in the name of Trump, man.
I'd be out there. I would see that, and then Chicago, Kanye West, whatever that him and Kanye got stuff.
I mean, imagine R. Kelly doing "I Believe I Could Fly" at a.
I mean, exactly. Exactly.
What if the Trump?
Yeah, I believe I can fly.
That becomes a new MAGA anthem.
Of
course it would.
Trump's daughter-in-law wants to be a singer. She's over here.
He's writing mad songs.
Man, listen.